All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming. We're going to be doing a presentation all about holidays and how to survive the holidays. So these are going to be 6 proven ways to stick to your plan during the busiest season of the year, which we're about to be starting into. And this is all adapted from Precision Nutrition, John Berardi. So all of these things in here are going to be adapted from him. And then we're going to be looking at some different infographics, some actual things that you can be doing throughout this entire time. So you're going to learn the whys, but also the hows. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys. This is going to be awesome. So to start off with, a lot of these are going to be the basics that I teach within FitAF Academy. So a lot of these, if you're moving through the course and all that good stuff, you're going to be like, okay, I know these things. And then just kind of take them with an open mind and be like, okay, like these are things that I want to brush up on, or even if they do seem very simple, we want to come at it with a learner's mind, or like a childlike curiosity, if you will. So to start off with, the first thing is to eat slowly and to satisfied instead of stuffed. So you can see like the picture over here that I added in, but the most effective and sanity preserving tool for holiday eating may also be the simplest one, which is eat slowly. And this is something I talk about a lot. And the biggest thing here is eating until you are satisfied instead of completely stuffed. And whenever you do eat slowly, you're going to notice that you notice those feelings a lot easier. So this strategy helps you avoid overeating for 2 main reasons: physiology. So it takes 15 to 20 minutes for your digestive system to let your brain know that you are satisfied. Slowing down a meal allows that to happen before you even overeat. Psychological: when you slow down, sense into, and savor your food, you feel content with a lot less. This means you'll eat less, but also enjoy what you've eaten more, a ton more. Indeed, when eating slowly and stopping at satisfied instead of stuffed, you can try all the delicious foods on grandma's buffet without guilt or needing to work it off later. And that's like, we don't want to have to work it off later or even feel like that. That it doesn't work like that anyways. But why should I eat slower? So the benefits of slow eating include better digestion, better hydration, easier weight loss or maintenance, and greater satisfaction with our meals. Meanwhile, eating quickly leads to poor digestion, increased weight gain, and lower satisfaction, which we're going to go deeper into those in a second. The message is clear: slow down your eating and enjoy improved health and well-being. So number 1, you're able to sense satisfaction and that you're full when you do eat a lot slower. So when you slow down, savor a meal, pay attention to the taste and textures, and appreciate each mindful bite, you leave the table feeling good deep in your soul, even if all you ate was a bologna sandwich. And this is something that I talk about this all the time. All of the food that I eat, I'm just thinking like, how good is this? Like all the different things, the smell of it, all kinds of things, just make it last. You know what I mean? Number 2, eating slowly also helps our digestion. So think of digestion as a chain reaction. As soon as we see, smell, or think about food, step 1, we start salivating to prepare for putting that food in our mouth. So our body, just from us like seeing the plate of it, or even just like thinking about it, we start to salivate. Saliva contains enzymes. This is step 2. Saliva contains enzymes that break the food down and moistens the mouth for easier swallowing. Meanwhile, digestive steps 3, 4, and 5, etc., have to get ready to go to work. So your body's like preparing for this food. Our stomachs start to secrete more acid. Our small intestine starts to get ready for some peristalsis. So that just means like moving it through and so forth. Number 3, eating slowly helps you to eat less. So research actually has shown that women who ate slower ate 67 less calories in 20 more minutes. So you can see how if you go and look at 3 meals per day, you can see how quickly those calories start to add up. So 67 times 3. And if you're doing that for every single meal and you're eating that much more, you can see how these calories are going to add up, which is going to end in most of the time gaining more weight because we have an excess amount of calories. And here's another interesting twist. When the women ate their lunch quickly, they reported more hunger an hour later than the other women who ate their lunch a lot slower. So not only did eating quickly lead to greater food consumption, it actually satisfied the women a lot less. Conversely, of course, slow eating meant less food, but more long-term satisfaction. So eating slower, they ate less food, but they felt fuller for a lot longer, like they weren't hungry so soon afterwards. Number 4, better hydration between meals. So researchers concluded that drinking more water might be key to helping us eat less during meals, but eating slowly seems to decrease hunger and lead to higher levels of satiety between the meals. So the takeaway: eat slowly, drink more water, consume less food, and feel more satisfied. It's an all-around win. And just make sure that you're not, this isn't to say that you should be chugging water during your meal, because that actually leads to poor digestion, because you're putting a lot of water in with the stomach acid, and that makes it harder to digest. So think of drinking a lot more water in between your meals, not during your meal, not right before or during. Number 5, why we should eat slower: weight gain. Fast eaters gain more weight over time than slow eaters. If weight loss or maintenance is your goal, then you really want to slow down. Number 6, disordered eating and eating speed. And this is actually something that I'm going to be touching on a lot more in my content here soon, disordered eating and what that means. But we're going to kind of dive a little deeper into it right now. If you've ever experienced a binge episode, you know the feeling. A powerful urge to get the food in there as fast as possible. It's almost like you're racing to not feel full. Research shows that one of the hallmarks of binge eating is rapid eating speed. People who suffer from compulsive eating often feel out of control of their behavior. After a binge or episode of overeating, you feel that like guilty, ashamed, and regretful feelings. The good news is that you can often derail a binge or overeating episode and help yourself get back in the driver's seat, so where you feel more in control, simply by slowing down. In fact, this is a technique that we use in our coaching program, where when you're in the grip of a binge or an overeating episode that feels like super overwhelming, just try to slow down as soon as you realize what's happening. You might not feel able to stop eating like right away, and that's totally okay. But most people can slow themselves down even when the binge demons are howling. It's sort of like having someone call your name when you're lost in thought and like snap you out of that daydream. This simple binge slowly strategy can often shift your attention, refocus you, and help you regain some sense of control. So if you've noticed like you're just at the fridge, like eating everything in sight, and then you realize that it's happening, slow yourself down a little bit, taste the food, start thinking about what the food is, and you can almost like slow yourself out of that. And obviously this would take a lot of practice. It's not just going to be something that you turn around in one day or anything like that. And if you do find yourself having like binging episodes or things like that, this is something to talk to your coach about, talking to somebody else about, and just letting other people know around you that are obviously close to you, because obviously those feelings of guilt or shame or things like that can be a big thing. But having somebody on your team that knows what's happening can also help you in this area too. And then this is how we are going to actually put it in practice. So some helpful tips here to start slowing down. Sit down to eat in a calm environment with minimal distractions. So don't eat while you're driving. Don't eat while you're watching TV, while you're texting. You want to pay attention to your food. Next is choosing high fiber foods that take more time to chew, such as like fruits and vegetables. And then putting down your utensils between bites. Take a moment, breathe. If you're eating with other people, enjoy making that conversation for a few extra minutes. Set your fork down and just get into the conversations. And then next, try setting a minimum number of chews per bite. That it's going to feel strange at first, but give it a try and see what you discover. So if you take a bite of something, count to 10. Use smaller plates or different utensils, such as chopsticks. Just every time I think of this, I think of like eating like turkey and stuffing with like chopsticks. You don't have to do it tomorrow or anything like that. But those smaller plates and different utensils, sometimes a smaller plate, I was just talking to a client about this, and she was talking about how sometimes like when she does smaller portions, it almost messes with her brain, where she's like, oh my gosh, this is so small, I'm not going to feel full after. So if you put it on a smaller plate, it can look like there's more food there. And that helps with that like mental thing with it too. If you find yourself rushing, it's okay. Put your utensils down and take a minute to kind of refocus on things. If slow eating isn't habitual for you, it's going to take some practice. So be okay, give yourself grace. It's not something that changes overnight. It does take a lot of intention. Next, find another slow eater and pace yourselves to them. This is something, I think I talked about this in another module that we were on. but you oftentimes are going to eat at the pace of the people around you. So if you find yourself, maybe your husband eats very fast or something like that, then you want to try and look at somebody maybe like picky little kids or somebody that talks a lot, that can hardly stop talking long enough to take a bite. That's perfect. Look at them when they're eating and follow along with them. Next, set aside time to eat at least 20 to 30 minutes for each meal. And this is for your like bigger meals, and preferably even longer at dinner. Don't just eat whenever you get around to it or treat it as an inconvenience, because you're fueling your body and maybe spending quality time with your friends and family. That's important, and it deserves an appointment. It deserves setting aside time for that thing. I know in our busy lives, it can feel like we don't have the time for that, but think of how awesome it feels after you have a nice dinner. You've talked to your husband, your boyfriend, your family members, and getting to spend that like time together where you guys are all undistracted is such a powerful moment, and can create so much connection, memories, and things like that too. Next, staying in shape when busy. So you exercise regularly for months, then you get derailed by a vacation, business trip, or just the general insanity of life. Does this sound familiar? Here's how to stay in shape when you're busy. It's faster and easier than you think. So I have a plan that I'm going to show you guys that is only a few minutes a day. It requires minimal to no equipment, and it focuses on compound exercises, which are your big muscles, big movements. That means that you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, which makes it very effective when you want a good movement session but have limited time. So I have an infographic that I want to show you over here. So this is how to stay in shape when you're busy. And if you don't already, make sure that you're taking some notes here, have something to write this down so that you can write down this exercise plan for you. I'm going to kind of skip over the physical activities amazing list. You guys know this from following me a lot, but there's so many different things that happen when you are staying in control of your health, when you're staying active and things like that. There's different things like within your brain, improved mood and sleep, improved executive function, increased elasticity in your veins and arteries, your metabolism, respiratory system, all these different things. We are made to exercise. We are made to move around. And you can see here how there's so many different things. And then stress can make you lose conditioning a lot faster. So you can get out of shape just from stress. There's mental, emotional stress that leads to an increased breathing rate, increased oxygen uptake and CO2 clearance. And then you can see how it just leads to us getting out of shape. So you can see how stress can affect things a lot. So this is why we want to stay on track with our exercise as much as we can. And why you want to get out of that all or nothing thinking and stop thinking like, hey, if I can only do 10 minutes, that's not enough. I should just do none. We want to think in terms of, hey, I get to do 10 minutes of a workout, and this is going to help me to stay in shape, right? 10 minutes is way better than nothing. 5 minutes is better than nothing, right? A 5-minute walk is better than nothing. So that's how we want to think of it and get out of that all or nothing mentality, right? So number one, you're going to move through each exercise in order. You're going to do 5 reps of each exercise, and you're not going to rest between exercise. You're going to rest 1 to 2 minutes at the end of this circuit, and then you're going to repeat it for a total of 2 to 4 circuits. All right. So hopefully you're writing this down. You're going to start with a bear crawl. A bear crawl is super easy. Get on, start on all fours, push down with your toes to bring all knees off of the floor. Bring all knees, like you have multiple. You just have 2. Bring your knees off the floor, and then you're just going to crawl like a bear on the ground, right? 10 seconds equals 1 rep. So you're going to do about 50 seconds of that, just walking forward and moving backwards, right? Next is a reverse lunge. For lunging, this is something that you guys have probably seen in your programs already, so super easy. And any of these that I talk about that you don't know how to do them, I have videos on how to do these. So just be writing down reverse lunge. Next is push-up. If you can't do a full push-up yet, then doing an incline push-up where you get on a bench or a chair, something like that, or you can do a from your knees push-up, something like that. Next is a squat, same thing here. If you can't do a full squat right now, or you don't feel comfortable with a full squat, doing 5 of them, then do a box squat where you squat down to a chair or to a bench and then up from there. Next is a single arm dumbbell row. So you're going to get a chair or something that you can lean on and just row with 1 dumbbell and then switch arms. So you're doing 5 with 1 arm, 5 with the other. Next is a banded hip extension. So you're going to place the band around your neck and then step on it at the bottom, and you're pushing your hips back. I like to think of like If somebody put a rope around your hips and they're pulling back on your hips, that's what you want to think of. And then you're squeezing your glutes to come forward to a standing position. You should feel this in your hamstrings and your glutes. And next, all you're going to need is your weights and your resistance bands. So the whole goal here, and I talk about this so much, is creating an environment where exercise is easy for you. So you want to make it easy. When you're busy and stressed, working memory and willpower are super low. So this is how you can make this minimal workout happen. Keep your resistance bands or workout clothes somewhere visible where you'll practically trip over them. You want these triggers so that things like this are less thought-driven and more just automatic. Don't think of the workout as a chore or punishment. Positivity keeps your stress hormone response in check and reduces hedonic compensation. So I did push-ups, so I earned this brownie. We want to reduce that. That's not how this works, right? Next, can't do one or more of the exercises in the circuit, just skip over them. If possible, focus on the legs. So you want to focus on your squats and things like that. So maybe you could do some step ups if you can't do the other things. And then next, no dumbbell, use whatever you can find to add weights to the movements. You can use your suitcase. You can use if you have like your hydro jug, fill this up with water, over 8 pounds right here, or probably close to like 5 or 8, something like that. That you can work with whatever you have available to you. And this plan works for a lot of reasons, but obviously you can see how it's minimal equipment. It helps you avoid the all or nothing downward spiral of feeling off track with exercise and all of that good stuff, right? So now we're going to go back to our presentation. Awesome. So number 3 to staying on track through the holidays is eating well on the go. And this is something I have in your course materials as well, an entire infographic all about this. But just remember, the end of the year has most people bouncing around among errands, tasks, and special traditions more than usual. This is also a time that people get sick. Maybe that you're taking care of loved ones, taking care of your children, things like that. Just remember, when you're on the go, it can feel like navigating a nutritional minefield. Hunger signals overpowering, junk food everywhere, little time to sit down and eat your vegetables. Challenging, of course, but it's not impossible. With smart strategies, you can eat well on the go, no matter where life takes you. And then I also have I have an entire, I'll just let you guys go through that, but I have an entire video on traveling and eating well on the go. So if that's something that you want to dive deeper into, if you're somebody that travels a lot during this time, then let me know and I will show you what week that's on. I believe it's week 7 in your course modules, but there's an entire video all about this where I talk about what snacks to bring, specific tips and tricks on how to plan accordingly and all of that good stuff. So if that's something you want to learn more about, then please message me on WhatsApp and I will get that video to you right away. But we're going to keep this a little bit shorter. So moving on, number 4, how and why to make the perfect super shake. So a super shake is a nutrient-packed, delicious liquid meal that you can whip up and drink while you help a 4-year-old glue googly eyes on felt reindeers. I love that. So we're going to look into our super shake, and the super shake guide is turning your boring protein smoothie into a super shake. So these unique nutrient-packed shakes can serve as excellent meal replacements when you're short on time. And the reason that this is a lot better than like a meal replacement powder, or I'm sorry, but way better than an Herbalife shake, is because it's going to contain minimal sugar and artificial ingredients. You're going to use high quality protein sources. A lot of these things you probably already have at home. So you're including whole fruits and vegetables, and then you're going to provide fiber and healthy fats. A lot of the times your powders aren't going to have all these things. Juice bar shakes like that you get at Pulp or like, again, like Herbalife nutrition places, they contain high levels of sugar. They include low quality protein sources. They rely heavily on processed ingredients, and they use too many artificial components. So we're focusing more on our whole food sides of things. So you want to start with a good blender. Hopefully you already have something like this. If you have like a Vitamix or a Magic Bullet, I actually have the Bomar has like a little handheld blender thing. It's just like a small thing. It's kind of like the mini Magic Bullet or whatever. Something like that is going to be perfect for you. Or if you just have a blender at home, perfect. You don't need to complicate it. So your steps to making your super shake. Step one, you're going to pick a liquid. Less liquid equals thicker shakes. More liquid equals thinner shakes. So you want 4 to 8 ounces, and you can use water, almond milk, cow milk, hemp milk, ice cream, tea, whatever you want for this. And you can get creative. The cool thing about this is your super shake can be different every time you make it. So it's not something that you're going to get tired of. Right. And if you find something that you really like, for example, my super shake always has almond or cashew milk in it. Next, you're going to pick a protein powder, 25 to 50 grams. So that means like 1 to 2 scoops of it. You can use whey protein, casein, any of these proteins that do well with your stomach. For example, I use whey and casein blend every time. I use or I'll use like Bomar. And usually I do vanilla. Next, you're going to pick a vegetable, 1 to 2 handfuls, and use raw or roasted veggies. So dark leafy greens like spinach. You can add some pumpkin or sweet potato, beets, cucumber, whatever you like with this. Spinach works really well since it's virtually indetectable. And this is one of my favorites. I like using spinach in everything because you really can't taste it. And then canned or roasted pumpkin with vanilla. You could do beets with chocolate. Celery or cucumber, you might want to reduce the liquid that you add because these are more like watery vegetables, if you know what I mean. Next, you're going to pick a fruit, 1 to 2 handfuls, and you can use fresh or frozen. If you use frozen, then you get more of a like milkshakey kind of vibe to it. If you use fresh, then you're going to get like a little bit of a meltier kind of thing. I typically like to use bananas, but you can use any of these that you like. You can use a powdered fruit supplement, pineapple, mango, dates. I know a lot of people like to use dates because it really makes it like that real sweet. So think of like tossing in half a banana, gives it a really nice texture. Dates are sweet. Apples provide sweet and tart notes. Just remove the core and slice it up, of course. You don't want to just throw it in there. Next, you're going to pick a healthy fat. So 1 to 2 thumb-sized portions should be enough for you, or think like 1 to 2 tablespoons. I usually like to use peanut butter, so you can see where I'm going with that. My super shakes are banana, spinach, the cashew milk, vanilla protein, and then some peanut butter, and you can see how good that tastes. And then if I'm feeling more chocolatey, I'll do chocolate protein instead. Next, you're going to pick a topper. So try cinnamon with vanilla and pumpkin. You can even do coconut or cocoa nibs, dark chocolate sprinkled on there, ice, you can add that in, just something to give it like that extra thing. Maybe you could do some yogurt or something like that too, right? Next, and this is, I already kind of told you the recipe, but here is another example of a recipe. If you want more recipes for these super shakes, I'm pretty sure that I have a bunch of recipes for these. So you can just reach out to me and be like, hey, I would love to get those recipes from you. All right. Next up is going to be, I think we're just going right into the vegetables. Oh, next is our calorie guide, actually. So the best calorie control guide. So if you want to get through the holidays without losing strength, without gaining extra weight and body fat, it is possible. It's so possible. I'm sure it'll feel difficult with all the calorie dense food right in front of you, but your health can survive another year of mom's mostly butter mashed potatoes and Aunt Marie's pumpkin bourbon cheesecake. Man, that sounds good. If you just eat slowly and pay attention to your portions. And no, this is not about calorie counting. And oftentimes when we try to calorie count, or we think that we have to bring our food scale or anything like that, it becomes annoying. And honestly, it's pretty inaccurate. So what I want to show you is the hand measure system instead. And a lot of you have already seen this. If you're somebody that does do macros and counts calories with MyFitnessPal, you can actually use this in tandem with MyFitnessPal. So what you want to do is you're just using your hand. The coolest thing is your hand is portable. You don't have to bring a food scale. Your hand is going to be just fine. If you're one of my prep clients, then you know that sometimes packing food is going to be the thing that we do, but I've probably already talked to you about that. If you are more looking to change your lifestyle, then this is your best bet. So a palm size amount of protein is the portion of protein is just your palm. Vegetables is your fist. So whenever you're picturing like your plate here, you can picture like, green beans. I'm going to get a fist of green beans or a fist of salad. Palm of protein, that's about the amount that you want of turkey. Carbs, a portion of carbs is your cupped handful. So if you're getting yourself some mashed potatoes, cupped handful of mashed potatoes. If you're getting yourself like a roll, you want the roll to like fit in your hand. And if it doesn't, maybe tear it in half, something like that. right? And then it's all about being intentional and mindful. Next is fat, and that's the size of your thumb, not just your thumbprint. I used to think it was the thumbprint, but it's your whole thumb. So think of the length, the thickness, and all of that good stuff. It's kind of like a tablespoon. So if you're looking at fats, then you're looking at like the butter that you added to your roll, or maybe to your potatoes, something like that. And I have, again, I have an entire video on just hand portions too. And then last but not least is 3 steps for preparing and actually loving your vegetables. So another effective strategy to avoid gaining weight and body fat during the holidays: eat lots and lots of veggies. They're water dense, calorie sparse, and full of nutrients you need to keep your energy and mood up for the holiday party. The only problem, many folks don't love the taste of vegetables, especially compared to the ultra palatable holiday food like the pumpkin bourbon cheesecake. That's why we recruited our top food magicians to create a simple 3-step formula for prepping healthy vegetables in a way that's delicious, even enough for a banquet table. So you could honestly like make these for the next dinner. And trust me, these have converted even the most hardcore veggie phobes. And I've actually used this with a couple of you and had really, really, really good feedback on this, especially with children and husbands, because husbands, I feel like husbands are the worst at this. I don't know why. They hate vegetables and they just like will not do it. But this will help you. So the first step, you're going to choose a vegetable that you've avoided in the past or have been a little afraid to try. So you can see these ones, they have it listed like least bitter to most bitter. So your spinach, your asparagus, your broccoli, these are the ones that most people are going to like more of. As you get into the more bitter ones, these are the ones that are a little bit harder, right? For example, if I was going to try one, I'd probably try kale. It's been a while since I've tried kale. And then step 2, you're going to complement it. So select 1 to 3 complementary items for your veggie from any or all of the categories below. So you want to pick a spice like chopped garlic, something sour, maybe like some fresh lemon juice, and then something salty like some actual salt, or some brined cheese like feta. So you can see how like pairing feta with some kale, with some lemon juice, with some garlic, it's starting to sound a lot better, right? Step 3 is going to be cushion. So select 1 to 2 cushioning items for your veggie. Something sweet could be like berries, wine, cooked onions. I like to do cooked onions with like Brussels sprouts. It's really good. And then I'll mix in like bacon bits with that, and it makes it so good. So you want to mix in something like your fat, like tahini, chopped walnuts, olive oils, and then you're going to pick your method. So wash the veggies thoroughly, and then if cooking, you want to chop them into equal sized pieces. And then this entire infographic, I can send it to you guys as well. I'm probably going to leave all of these in the video description on here. But you can see you can do raw, you can steam them, saute, braise, and then we have some sample combos down here too. So asparagus with garlic, feta, avocado and lemon, Brussels sprouts with bacon and onions. That's like my favorite one. Sometimes I'll even add some sugar-free syrup to it, and it tastes so good. And that's actually one that I think I brought it to last year's Thanksgiving, and a lot of people liked it. Everyone ate it and it was gone. So you can tell people really like that one. So yeah, that was, oh, that's another one we're going to be doing soon. Awesome. So you can, hopefully you're getting some ideas for your vegetables and all of that good stuff. And just to finish this off, we're going to go through and see if you guys have any questions or see if you have anything from this that give you some ideas or anything like that. But I just want to say that you got this. A lot of the times we overhype the holidays, and we honestly just jump on the bandwagon of everyone else saying, this is stressful, this is busy, I'm so busy. And then we kind of hop on that and conform to what everyone else around us is saying, which is normal. And I don't blame you for doing that. I've done it in the past for sure. But when you take your power back and you say, hey, I can do this, my goals matter to me, they are important, I can be intentional, I can be mindful. And when you take that power back into yourself, you can do this, and you can make it something that is not as overhyped as it is, right? And remember, the holidays are a short period of time. What matters is what you do most of the year. So if you feel like the holidays are going to get you out of shape, that's not true. It's what you've done this entire year that would make you out of shape or in shape. So I like to use the holidays, if anything, for a time to to really focus on surrounding yourself with love, allowing this time to actually share your goals with your family members and tell them about what you're doing. Tell them you joined a program, tell them you have a coach, tell them all the positive things that are coming with that. And that can help you to get more support and get more people on your having your back too through this, which is awesome. And my biggest tips for this that I have for you are to give yourself grace, give others around you grace as well, because remember, there are going to be people that don't understand what you're doing. They don't understand. Maybe they've seen you for years, just, eat really fast and eat everything. Or maybe they've seen you for years say that you're on a diet and you weren't eating dessert or something like that. Or maybe they think you're on a diet and they think you're not allowed to have dessert. Just give them grace and understand that not a lot of people understand this kind of approach to things, a healthier approach to things. It's not very common. So give yourself that grace, give them that grace, and enjoy yourself while spreading love and positivity around to everyone around you. And then doing this will result in you getting what you put out. So the more positivity that you put into this, as you can see, you can get a lot out of it. Right. So that's everything that I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then I just want to open up and talk to you guys. So Kayla, Olivia, I just want to ask you, what kinds of takeaways did you get from this, if anything, like 1 to 2 things or anything that you can add to this, anything like that? And whoever wants to unmute and go, I'm going to stop recording.